The tax credit may be worth up to $6,000. If you're ready for a stimulus payment, then continue watching this video. And if you want to know the latest news about Social Security benefits, continue watching to the end. Millions of additional low and middle income people will be holding on to more cash this year, as long as they remember to fill out the right form come tax season. The IRS has just expanded the criteria to qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit, giving a permanent green light to those who are at least 19 years of age without dependents. Before this year's round of changes, the Earned Income Tax Credit was only available to parents, childless people between the ages of 25 and 64. The IRS change reflects the federal government's ongoing expansions of the Earned Income Tax Credit to help more Americans struggling financially during the crisis. And with President Biden changing it up last year under the American Rescue Plan, it is a change that is now permanent. The Earned Income Tax Credit has historically existed as a tax break for low to moderate income workers, with credits ranging between $560 and around $6,935 for 2022. The exact amount someone receives will depend on their income and filing status. Until this year, having children was an additional qualifier. The American Rescue Plan introduced a temporary lift on the child requirement, roughly tripling the maximum credit for childless workers from $538 to around $1,500 last year. The income eligibility requirement still depends on how many children a given filer has. Until this year, having children was an additional qualifier. The American Rescue Plan introduced a temporary lift on the child requirement, roughly tripling the maximum credit for childless workers from $538 to around $1,500 last year. And the less one earns, the greater the Earned Income Tax Credit, because it's a refundable tax credit. Lower income taxpayers who have little to no income tax liability can receive the total amount of the credit as a tax refund anyway. Now let's go over the status of the fourth stimulus check. Well, I know that there are many Americans that are anxiously waiting for Congress to send out stimulus payments to help during the crisis. Lawmakers have already shown their support for sending out more relief checks, and the first stimulus check was an amount for $1,200, and the second was around $600. With each check, there were various qualifying limits. According to many experts, a fourth stimulus check's amount will be similar to the past three rounds of payments. Members of the House Ways and Means Committee wrote a letter to President Biden urging him to include recurring direct checks in his American Families Plan. The White House has reported that lawmakers in Congress will just continue to negotiate on the next stimulus package. Thank you again for your support. If you have any questions on this, leave them in the comments down below, and I will do my very best in answering all of your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as the chairman said, we've been talking about the economic growth that this country has been facing. Some of the best economic growth in the last 4 decades. President Biden and House Democrats saved the American economy from collapse and set the course for unprecedented recovery through the Bipartisan Infrastructure and Investment Act with only a handful of Republican votes. Votes that in some cases led to those members to be exiled from their own party. People are able to return to jobs because of the Biden-Harris administration's efforts to distribute the vaccine across this country. A vaccine, again, that some Republicans in this body continue to undermine each day. And one of the benefits that we have seen under the Biden-Harris administration is the robust support for the Affordable Care Act. More than 14.5 million people signed on, and with the American Rescue Plan, we supported that through more additional resources. House Republicans, if given the opportunity, we know will try to undermine all of those efforts to shore up the Affordable Care Act and provide health insurance to so many Americans. House Democrats won't take our eyes off the ball. We're going to continue to focus on issues that are good for the economy, issues that are good for our communities and our families, and we're going to make sure that we shore up the economy in this country. We'll continue to focus on these issues because that's what we were sent here to do. That's what we've heard from our communities back home, and that's what we know will have a meaningful and lasting impact. With that, I'll turn it over to